I'm not a-hole for refusing to take my nieces/nephews out to fun places anymore since my sister won't help with the bill. My little sister has 6 kids, 10 male, 7 female, 6 female plus 6 female, 4 male and 2 female, who I love and babysit when I can. I'm child-free, and my husband and I have a decent amount of fun money saved for us to spend on whatever we want. And I'd use mine sometimes to take my nibblings fun places. I still take them all out somewhere at least 2 to 3 times a month. Now, when it was just the oldest, I'd take him for a day to give my sister and brother-in-law a break. I'd take him to museums, fairs, kids' play places, Chuck E. Cheese, amusement park, etc. With just one kid, it was pretty easy to do. Then the second oldest came along, and I was still able to swing it. But then with the addition of the twins, it became harder to afford. Not to mention watching 4 kids is way harder than watching one. By the time the 4-year-old came around, I couldn't afford to take them all to the same places anymore. It cost too much. So I started taking them cheaper/free places, like the park, free kids' days at the museum, the mall, swimming at my house, etc. Now with the 2-year-old, I've totally stopped taking them anywhere that costs more than a couple bucks each. But last week when I was dropping the kids off at my sister's place, the oldest asked if we could go to the fair next month. I didn't think I'd be able to afford that, but didn't want to outright say no, so I told him I wasn't sure, but would see. After the kids ran off, my sister asked why I wasn't sure about the fair, and I told her I didn't think I'd be able to afford tickets and food for 7 people. She said it couldn't cost that much, so I told her that each ticket was about $10 the last time we'd gone, and that wasn't counting the money spent on food. I said I'd be happy to take them all to the fair if she paid for at least the tickets. She went off saying that she and brother-in-law didn't have that kind of money, how they had 8 mouths to feed and clothes to buy, and she couldn't waste money on the fair. I asked why she thought I was made of money, and she said I had more money than them. And it's not like I have 6 kids to care for. I told her I loved taking the kids out, but if she couldn't help with paying for the expensive places, then the kids would have to be content with going to the park or swimming at my house. Sister said I'm a huge a-hole. And when I told our parents, they said it was sorta a-holish since I only take them out a couple times a month instead of caring for them 24/7 like my sister. So now I don't know. Hub says I'm not the a-hole, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, I could swing taking them all to the fair, but it's just so expensive. Am I the a-hole for asking for help paying? Now for the top comments before reading Opie's little update. Not the a-hole. So if she can't afford places like the fair because of having 8 mouths to feed, why does that responsibility have to fall on you? She's being entitled instead of grateful that you've done as much as you have all these years. Being child-free doesn't mean to have all this disposable income to spend on other people's kids, no matter how much you may love them. Not the a-hole. OP, you take your nieces and nephews out 2 to 3 times a month, which is far more than most aunts and uncles do. And rather than be grateful, your sister is demanding you do more. Your sister is quick to count and spend your money. I think you've found a very wise solution to continue spending treasured time with your nieces and nephews without breaking the bank. You've done nothing wrong at all. It's your sister who's being an unreasonable a-hole. I grew up very close to my aunt and uncle, and some of my fondest memories with them are from when one or both of them babysat us at their house while my parents were both at work. Mom was a part-time worker, so it only happened occasionally that her and my dad's shifts lined up like that, and we'd spend time with them. My brother and I would play ball hockey in the basement with my cousin. We'd play GameCube, etc. They don't need to be taken to expensive places to create a strong relationship and happy memories with you. The fact that you want to be so present in their lives is amazing. Trust me, my aunt and uncle passed away now, but I will always have my love and memories with them. And your nieces and nephews will too, whether you paid to take them somewhere or not. Definitely not the a-hole here. Not the a-hole. If your sister doesn't have that kind of money, maybe they should stop having children. I'd have stopped at the same point as you. I wouldn't be willing to look after 4 kids even if the tickets were paid for. She should be grateful you're essentially offering free childcare. This. So not only is Opie babysitting 6 children for free, but must also be willing to spend $100 plus as well? 6 kids at the fair may cost $70 to get in, but fair food is also expensive. Plus, I can't even imagine the stress of juggling 6 kids at the fair. Bathrooms alone would be a nightmare. Update. I want to thank everyone for all the amazing comments and DMs. After all the resounding not day hall comments, I've come to the conclusion that I'd become used to my family's treatment of me over the years. I'd always been aware it wasn't really fair, but I put up with it to keep the peace and see my nibblings regularly. But I can't keep spending such outrageous amounts of money on kids that aren't even mine anymore. Especially when I'm not even getting a half-assed thank you in return. It's not fair to me. So I called my sister and told her I won't be taking her kids out for fun days for the foreseeable future. I told her that she's been really entitled to expect me to foot the bill to babysit her kids, and if she apologizes sincerely, then I might start taking them out again sometime in the future. But for now, I'm gonna keep my distance. She didn't take it well, and called me a lot of hurtful names before hanging up on me. Not long after, Mom called me and told me I was being selfish and rude. But I snapped at her that she was being rude. Expecting me to pay upwards of hundreds of dollars a month for kids that I didn't give birth to while cuddling my sister was horrible parenting. And I said how sick and tired I was of being treated like free babysitting for my sister just because I never popped out any grandkids for them. And if she and my sister thought taking all the kids out 3 times a month was no big deal, then I'll send her the bill. Which I did. I sent her pictures of the receipts from the last 3 places I took my nieces/nephews. Each one being no less than $70. She hasn't called or texted me back. I'll just see what happens. But thanks everyone. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad to buy stepsister old consoles if he wants her to have them so bad? So I, 16 female, started babysitting 2 years ago. I then moved from that to a retail job back in October. I have saved some money and decided to indulge in getting some vintage consoles. Consoles I missed out on, but see games I want to play. I found places that sell them pretty cheap. I've always been a gamer, and it's the only passion I'm glad I can explore more than the older stuff. Ever since I got a 3DS, not one of the older consoles, but I wasn't allowed to have before, my stepsister, 14 female, has wanted to use them too. Mostly the PlayStation and Nintendo consoles. I have always said no. She's careless and demanding, and to me that's the #1 reason she isn't going to get her hands on them. One day we got into a huge fight over it, and she laid on a guilt trip about siblings always sharing, how I'm her big sister and should include her in this stuff. I told her it wasn't going to work on me. She ran to tell my dad, who has bent over backward for her since he married his wife 5 years ago, and sure enough he tried to do the same again. He told me they weren't really mine since I was his minor kid, they were his. And he wanted me to share with her. I told him he didn't earn the money, that if he argued about him paying the bills, I could just store them until I move out. He told me to stop being a brat and stop hurting my sister's feelings. I told him if he wanted her to have an older console so much, he needed to go out and buy her one, and let her be careless with that, not with something I paid for. That way, it can be something new to add to the list of things she's broken. Both laptops for virtual learning, the remote for our main TV, the drawer to my desk, 2 of my phones, 6 of her phones, her little keepsake box that my grandparents got for each of us the year my dad married her mom, the family console, 3 discs for video games, and not forget my necklace that my mom bought for me when I was a baby. He told me I should be keeping track, and that they have always done their best to replace what was broken. I replied that he and his wife should teach her how to be less destructive, and it's not my job to do it. Then I pointed out not everything could be replaced or fixed easily. He told me I was behaving like a 6-year-old instead of a 16-year-old, and that I had no right to talk back to him. That was 3 weeks ago, and he's still mad about it. Am I the a-hole for how I talked to him? Not the a-hole. You're actually being very reasonable and articulate about the issue, and your dad is being a child. Yes, siblings normally are encouraged to share, but that's a pretty reasonable worry when the person you're sharing with doesn't have respect for someone else's things. He's mad because you're making sense. Plus, it's retro game consoles, which are like sacred. Not the a-hole. Your stepsister destroyed enough things already. You fearing she wouldn't be careful is justified. Store the things and move out. How did they replace something as precious as your mom's gift? They bought one that was like it, but it was never the same. For starters, it was from them and not my mom. I had kept that damn thing safe for 15 years, and then she decides to grab it while I was wearing it and broke the necklace. So she destroyed the necklace from your mom on purpose? Frankly, the whole siblings should always share thing is BS. You're allowed to have your own things, and to set limits in sharing with people who are careless/break stuff. Also, I don't believe for a second that your sister's both that careless and that entitled. Sounds like there's more to the story, and that most likely she's intentionally breaking things and claiming it was accidents. Breaking things during temper tantrums is still intentional, not the a-hole. I don't think she meant to break it, but she also didn't regret breaking it either. I think she just lost her temper because she didn't get what she wanted. And yeah, but still freaking sucks, honestly. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for being honest about why we decided on fertility treatment over adoption? My friends and I have always had a mostly negative view on people who exhaust themselves with doing fertility treatments when they can't have kids, instead of just adopting existing children. My husband and I ended up struggling with infertility, so we decided right away to start on adoption first. We tried both a private adoption agency and foster care, and got as far as the home study both times. Our house is old, and there are a lot of weird idiosyncrasies with the house, but we're completely up to date on electrical and plumbing codes, so we thought this would be just a formality. 2 generations of my family grew up there, and it was perfectly safe. Not to them. They had huge issues with the house. They considered 2 of the bedrooms to not be a bedroom because it was too small. They didn't like that the main level floor was uneven. We have a problem with squirrels trapping themselves in the roof somehow, and the social worker was appalled that we just let them scratch themselves out. There's nothing we can do. We don't know how they're doing it, and unless children are squirrels now, no child is getting up there to get stuck that way. It was ridiculous, but it didn't matter. The verdict from both was that our home was fundamentally unsafe. We did look into fixing it. Every single person who ever owned that home had tried to fix the things that were wrong, but we tried again. The house just couldn't be fixed to their standards without becoming actually dangerous. It was fine and safe to live in, but we also wouldn't be able to sell because it was imperfect. The verdict was that if we wanted to adopt a child, we would have to demolish our home to sell the land and then buy a new house on top of agency fees. We did the math. The truth was that, with housing prices in our area, adopting a child would actually cost us at minimum $450,000. Even if we had to do IVF surrogacy, it would only cost us about $130,000. It no longer made any sense to adopt, so we committed to doing treatment. Our total ended up being much less than that because, thankfully, our first round of IVF worked, and we didn't need a surrogate. We now have a child. One of our friends made a very, honestly, ignorant post about spending $100,000 on a child of your own while children sit in foster care. I decided to comment on it, telling her the full story for the first time, explaining how expensive adoption can truly be. There's been a lot of comments, and now she and some of our friends are now mad at me for making adoption look like a bad and terrible thing. I was just trying to show that there isn't one side to this, and that there are valid reasons to make both choices. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. I think you and all of your friends are horrible people for sitting in judgment about how people handle their own infertility. I think you're doubly bad for not saying, I've had a change of heart after realizing there's so much I don't understand about adoption and IVF, and instead saying, you don't understand. I'm better than others who choose IVF because in my situation, it's okay. Everyone sucks here. I understand that. My opinions have changed, and I regret how ignorant I was. Everyone sucks here. You're part of a group that habitually judges the family planning of others. You can't be surprised when they then judged you. They didn't have the life-changing experience you did, and therefore haven't changed. It sounds like you all need a wake-up call. When friendships are based on othering others in circumstances you can't imagine, they aren't healthy friendships. Think about if this group is worth your time and learn from your mistakes. I'm sorry things were so difficult for you, and hope your pregnancy goes well. A quirky little house with a squirrel attic sounds like the setting for a children's novel. Not the a-hole. 99% of the people who spout just adopt literally have no idea of how adoption and foster to adopt work. None. Now that you've gone through it, you know it's not the easy path that so many seem to think it is. Long story short, I had both my kids via IVF for about $5,000 out of pocket for IVF through hospital births. That $5,000 wouldn't even have covered a lawyer's retainer and a home study if we wanted to adopt. Plus, my IVF treatments involved me, my husband, and my doctor was only concerned with whether or not I could safely carry a pregnancy to term. He didn't care how much I made, what kind of parent he thought I'd be, the state of my marriage, what my house looked like, what my colleagues think of me, etc. For us, IVF was by far the best option. Never judge until you've walked a mile in someone else's shoes. It was ridiculous how much cheaper everything was. I ended up being able to do a home birth with a midwife, so I didn't have the hospital bill. I had been so concerned about the cost, but it was cheaper than I've heard of some people's spontaneous hospital births being. Kind of disturbing, honestly. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for choosing not to follow my in-laws' naming tradition for my daughter? My husband, 24 male, and I, 24 female, had our daughter in November. Early in my pregnancy, my husband told me he would let me choose the name because he really struggled to like names, and he didn't want to make the process more complicated than it needed to be. I chose the name the day we found out she was a little girl. I told my husband, he gave me the thumbs up, and I kept it between us, and my best friend who made her engraved baby blanket. Outside of that, nobody else knew. We announced her name the day after she was born. The name was controversial within my husband's family. Our daughter was the first granddaughter, and we did not go with the tradition in their family of naming the first grandson/granddaughter a specific name. To make sure I'm being clear, in my mother-in-law's family, the first male of each generation is named John, for example, and the first female is named Emily. Mother-in-law's oldest grandson is John, but our baby girl is the first granddaughter and was not called Emily. They are very hurt that I would not honor their tradition. It has become a feud because they feel like I disrespected them, and that I should have wanted my daughter to carry on a long-held family tradition that means so much to the family, and I have struggled with some guilt since. My husband told them it was our decision, and sooner or later the tradition was going to be broken, and I did nothing wrong. But my mother-in-law, and especially my oldest sister-in-law, the mother of John, have not given up. Sister-in-law claims that by using a different family middle name, a name shared by both a grandmother of his and a grandmother of mine, it was an even bigger middle finger to them. I told them she is mine and my husband's daughter, and our wishes should be respected. They claim it was still a Nahal thing. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Repeat after me. I'm sorry you feel that way. Call us when you're over it. This. I hope no one in their family wants to document their genealogy. That would be a nightmare with all those Emilys and Johns. It also becomes a big problem in the digital age with mail, medical records, insurance, etc. Trust me, my husband's grandfather changed his name to a name he liked. Let's say Michael. Then he named his son Michael, and his daughter named her son Michael, and my husband is also Michael. Not one of them goes by Michael except on legal documents. We're constantly getting mail for each other, having to clarify records, etc. Yes, I honestly love my son's name, named the third, but using the family name was a huge mistake. Name Senior is an imprisoned child violator. Name Junior always had issues with background checks before she transitioned to female when our son was 3 years old, and then she hated constantly hearing her dead name. Not Dayhole. This entitled mentality that some family members have over their kids' lives is unbelievable. Name your child what you like and enjoy the good life. Also, congrats. Edit. I might also add that the sister-in-law is probably projecting regret that you did something she wouldn't. I just get flabbergasted that somebody can expect the name of the child can be defined like that. Not Dayhole. Why do people think that a couple's baby is somehow the possession of the whole family? This is your baby. They don't get a say, period. I can't imagine the entitlement of a family thinking they should have more say over a baby than the baby's own mother. Am I the a-hole for being upset and leaving when my sister-in-law stole my pregnancy announcement? I, 36 female, found out that I am pregnant. I am overjoyed as I've always wanted a child of my own. I focused on my career and my life. And since I'm single, I wasn't sure if having a baby would ever happen. I was excited to tell my family the big news. My older sister has one child, my nephew, 7 male. My brother is married, but he and his wife have made it very clear they will always be child-free. Last night we had a family dinner, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to share the news. And since this will be my only child, I wanted to make it special, and I also wanted to involve my nephew. I got a shirt that read, "This is what an awesome big cousin looks like." I slept away with my nephew before dinner and had a special moment with him while I told him he was going to have a cousin. My nephew was very excited and put on the shirt. He put a sweater on over it, and I told him he could take the sweater off whenever he wanted at dinner. In the middle of dinner, he took off the sweater and waited for someone to notice. Soon my sister jumped up and excitedly screamed when she saw the shirt. They all then immediately assumed it was my sister-in-law. I wasn't hurt by them assuming this, and I kind of expected it because she is married. I was hurt because my sister-in-law didn't try to correct them. She just went along with it and began to rub her flat belly while laughing. I must have looked completely hurt because my mother yelled at me to stop being rude and to congratulate them. I tried to explain that I was the one who gave my nephew the shirt. They all didn't even hear me and just continued to fawn over my sister-in-law. My brother stood frozen in shock, just asking his wife if she was serious. I got up and went home. I received multiple texts at this point from them telling me what an a-hole I am for making this about me. They said things like it wasn't my sister-in-law's fault that I was jealous. I didn't reply to anything and just cried myself to sleep. This morning, my sister-in-law must have finally let it slip that she is not pregnant. And they have now all called me to apologize, saying that they just got caught up in the moment. They said I shouldn't have left the dinner, and that it's my fault I wasn't clear enough that I was the one who was pregnant. My mom said I could have a redo dinner so I could get it right and they will all act surprised. My sister-in-law sent me a message that said that the way I chose to announce was how she wanted to do it if she ever got pregnant. She said that since she's not ever having a child, that she just wanted to experience what the moment would be like. She also said I can have my chance at the redo dinner. I told them no, and that I will not be doing a redo. Every single person has now told me I'm being selfish and a nahal because I won't let them make it right. To me, there's no fixing this. I will eventually forgive them, but I don't want to do a second announcement so they feel better. Am I the a-hole? Now for some comments before reading the updates. If I'd ever do a redo, I would only do it with the rule that sister-in-law is not invited and isn't present, since she took something unique and very personal in a cruel way without showing any remorse. But I wouldn't do a redo myself anyway, since they ruined it entirely, and doing it again would just feel so ridiculous and fake. And this is not something I could forgive and forget overnight. I'd not talk to her again until she does something really big as an honest apology, and even then I wouldn't forgive that witch. I'm actually so mad for you. Not at a-hole. Your sister-in-law is trash for doing that to you, and to then try to justify it. That's just so hateful. I'm sorry, and congratulations. You can't redo an announcement. You can't put the cat back in the bag. The best they can do is apologize and stop blaming you for their poor behavior, sister-in-law included. First update 4 months later. I've had many people messaging me asking for an update, so I thought posting one here seemed like a fitting place. It has been 4 months since my last post and it has been a wild ride. I'm now almost 7 months pregnant and expecting a baby girl. After everything happened, I tried going low contact with my family. I didn't want to deal with their drama and chose to instead focus on my pregnancy. That didn't last long because my brother showed up at my door a few days after the dinner with his suitcase. He needed some time to work things out, and I was happy to give him a place to stay while he did. My sister-in-law and other family members began calling both of us non-stop during this time. They were begging my brother to talk to his wife. Eventually, she convinced him that it was all a joke that just went horribly wrong. I knew this was total BS and that she was lying. My brother seemed so lost and broken without her though. He went back home after staying with me for only a short time. Before I left, I talked to him about everything and told him all my concerns. He said that he loves his wife, and this was all just a misunderstanding. He told me I was cruel for holding a joke gone wrong against her, and that we both need to get over it. I couldn't force him to listen to reason, so I just let him go. After he left, I went back on low contact with most of my family and have been much happier since. I realized after reading the comments on my previous post exactly how toxic my family is. I decided to focus on the people in my life that were truly there to support me and my baby. While my parents keep trying to contact me, it has become less frequent lately. Yesterday, I received news that many of you had predicted. My sister-in-law is now pregnant. I found out when I received an invitation to her upcoming gender reveal Zoom party in my email. I haven't responded yet, and I haven't heard any news from any family other than the invitation. I'm torn between laughing hysterically and crying for my brother. I truly don't know what to think. Don't pet the dog that bit you. I'm conflicted. I do love my family, but I don't love the way they act. People who love you back don't tease, taunt, humiliate, or mistreat you. I think you love the idea of your family and not the reality. Because what could you love about the way they've chosen to treat you? This wasn't one word, one mistake, or even one bad day. This is a pattern of behavior that has probably extended since long before your pregnancy. You deserve better, and so does your precious child. It is so sad how many people think that having a baby will fix their marital problems. Newsflash, it won't. I pity your brother and I pity that unborn child. I recently read how these kind of jokes, although your sister-in-law truly went beyond the pale, are Schrodinger's jokes. If you get hurt/insulted, it is just a joke. But if you don't react, they were telling the truth/how it is the whole time. If you still want a relationship with your brother, you can text/email him that your door will always be open for him. But otherwise, I would not even respond to the invite. Or if he gets badgered, say you can't make it. No explanations or excuses, just sorry no. Second update 1 month later. My brother and sister-in-law's gender reveal Zoom party took place today. For the last few weeks, I had been debating on if I should attend or not. I had been doing well with being no contact with most of my family, but I couldn't seem to let go of the feeling that I was being selfish and not supportive of my brother. So I decided to reach out and talk. I think I decided this mainly out of curiosity, but also loneliness. It's hard being pregnant, alone, and stuck in lockdown. I reached out to them online, and my brother and his wife are definitely pregnant. They started to try shortly after he returned home from staying with me. My sister-in-law told me that my brother changed his mind about having children after a long talk they had about their future. I personally think there is more to this story, but I don't have all the details on this yet. They did tell me that they were sorry about what happened with my pregnancy announcement. My brother asked me if we would all just move forward and if I would come to their gender reveal. I agreed and decided to let it go. I also started to speak with my parents again. My parents did not apologize for their part in what happened at my pregnancy announcement. They did not even really acknowledge that anything had happened at all between us at all. They don't ask me much about my pregnancy or my baby. They have only been interested enough to ask 2 questions. They ask what my child's last name will be since I'm a single mother and what the gender is. I told them I will not be sharing the gender of my baby until the birth. Today was the gender reveal Zoom party. We were instructed to wear blue or pink depending on what we thought the gender would be. I chose to wear pink since the only dress I own that fits me right now happens to be pink. As all the attendees logged on to the Zoom call, everything seemed to be going rather well. My parents were in head-to-toe blue and said it was because they are excited that my brother is finally carrying on the family name. My sister-in-law and brother were dressed opposite in all pink. Everyone seemed happy and ready to celebrate. My sister-in-law had chosen to pop a large balloon filled with confetti that will reveal the gender. She popped the balloon, and out came a cloud of blue confetti. My parents began to cry and cheer at the announcement, and my brother and everyone else were smiling and clapping. My sister-in-law, on the other hand, was not. The next few moments were filled with all of the guests say their congratulations. My sister-in-law stayed perfectly silent throughout all of it. She seemed somewhat emotionless, until I piped up to say my congratulations. I had said to them both, "Congratulations on your little boy. His cousin can't wait to meet him." My sister-in-law went insane. She began screaming that I was trying to steal the spotlight away from her by mentioning my baby. She said that I was being jealous and petty over my birth announcement disaster. She then asked me, "What are you freaking having anyway?" She demanded to know the gender of my baby and began asking if it's a girl. She then said that I must be having a girl since I'm wearing a pink dress. My parents and other family members did little to stop my sister-in-law's meltdown. I chose not to fight with her or to try to reason with her. I just exited the call and let it go. I don't know what my sister-in-law's problem is or why she's behaving this way, but I don't care, and I'm not going to let things like this bother me anymore. It was a bad idea to break no contact. Now for some top comments before reading more updates. She wanted a girl, but she's having a boy, and she used you to release her anger. If you have a girl, she will act terribly about it. I am having a girl. I guess we will see what happens after I give birth. Probably another meltdown. Nothing if you keep that abuser away from the both of you, which beg you to do so. Same goes for the parents based on previous posts. To quote a previous reply from the last update, don't pet the dog that bit you. Please, you and your daughter deserve better. With people like your sister-in-law, the only way to win is to not play their game. Exiting the call was absolutely the way to go. Because you are having a girl, her behavior will only get worse. You do whatever is necessary to protect yourself and your child from their mistreatment. You don't deserve it, and neither does your child. Another month later, another update. I've posted on here a few times before. I apologize for this rant, but I just need to get it off my chest. I wish I could say that things have calmed down since my last post. Unfortunately, my sister-in-law's drama just seems to progressively get worse. So, my sister-in-law found out that I'm expecting a girl about 2 weeks ago. She found a gender by logging into my Amazon account without my permission and looked through my private lists. I had given my brother the login information from my Prime account so that he could watch a show he wanted to see. I had not expected her to log into the main account and view my private wish lists/past orders. I was extremely hurt and devastated that she went this far. She took another special moment for me because she went ahead and told the rest of my family the gender. She seems proud of herself for doing this and thinks she's justified because I was keeping secrets. She actually thinks that this is a funny story and blames pregnancy brain for any of her poor behavior. I finally snapped and told her what she did was appalling and deeply troubling. I told her that she has ruined every major moment in my pregnancy and that I cannot believe that she's proud of it. I told her she should be ashamed of herself and that I am embarrassed for her. I told her that at this point, I won't be allowing my daughter calling her aunt because she doesn't deserve it. She had a meltdown after this and accused me of trying to get her to miscarry. She says this kind of thing a lot. My brother and other family members tried to jump in to defend her, but I made it clear that I will remove them from my life as well if they continue to defend her. They have since shut their mouths and begun to agree with me. My sister-in-law gave me a half-hearted apology and said that we need to make up for the sake of the kids. I do want to be a part of my new baby nephew's life, so I do feel a bit stuck in this situation. I agreed to just let it go and try to move on, but I made it clear to her and everyone else that they are on a very thin ice. Since everyone now knows that I'm having a girl, I have refused to tell anyone the name that I intend to give my daughter. I want to at least keep that part for me to announce when I have my child. I haven't even really written it down because I fear someone will find out. My sister-in-law has asked me many times, but I just tell her that I haven't decided yet. But this last week, she started sending me girls' names that she's calling dibs on. I reminded her that she is having a boy, but she seems to be in denial about that fact. She likes to say that we won't really know the genders for certain until the babies are born. Most of the names are ones I have no interest in, as we have very different styles. She sends me about 4 to 5 names off her list each day. Now, I generally just ignore her, but yesterday she sent the name that I will be naming my daughter. The name is my late great-grandmother's name, and I have wanted to use the name since I was a teenager. I won't be changing my mind about naming my daughter this name. I will be announcing it once she is born. I don't care if this starts a war, as this is the hill that I am willing to die on. I know this is just going to cause an issue when I share her name, but at least I have time to prepare for her meltdown this time. I want to be part of my brother and nephew's lives, but I'm starting to see that it's just not worth it. Now for some comments before the final update. She's sending you lists of names she called dibs on every day? OMG, I'm glad your family is at least coming around somewhat. Yes, every single day. I would be sharing her posts and telling people how psycho she is being towards you. Save her posts for proof. She's a horrible woman. I would block her number for a long time and tell your brother that you don't want to hear from her or about her. And it's up to him to keep the relationship between you and nephews. I'm not sure what you're planning to do for a baby shower. If you were having one, even on Zoom, I wouldn't invite her. She's mentally unhinged. Change any passwords you gave your brother. She can pay for any shows he wants. Stay strong and don't let them rug sweep her actions. Yes, I already changed my password and will never be sharing it again. Sadly, the damage is already done. Now for the final update 2 months later. My little girl is finally here and doing very well. She's so beautiful. It is more amazing than anything that I could have ever imagined. She's a handful already, but I'm loving every second of it. You will all be happy to know that I did not allow my sister-in-law to bully me into picking another name. My daughter is named after my great-grandmother, and it fits her perfectly. I announced my daughter's birth and her name in a message to my family while I was at the hospital. My sister-in-law wasn't happy about my name choice, and she was even angrier when she heard the nickname I chose for my daughter. It is a shortened version of her name that was also listed on sister-in-law's dibs list. She posted on social media about my daughter's birth, and in the announcement, she referred to my baby by a different name. She says that it's her own special nickname for my daughter. Think something like if her name was Grace, she decided to nickname her something like Jilly. It's very weird and doesn't even resemble my child's name at all. I told her immediately to stop and to call my daughter by her proper name or the nickname that I chose. I knew she was only doing it to bother me, and that getting upset would just encourage her more. She stopped for a short time, but never removed her social media post. I had my family over to meet the baby a week after I came home from the hospital, and that's when sister-in-law started up with her games again. She purchased a bear for my daughter with Jilly embroidered across it. After opening that stupid bear, my family members laughed and told me to stop being so controlling. They told me to get over it, and that sister-in-law's nickname is cute. They too started to use the Jilly name. I felt like I couldn't even name my own baby, and they thought I should just be okay with it. I realized then that none of them were ever going to change how they treat me. I saw that what I was allowing to happen was just as bad as what they were doing. I was allowing myself to be belittled, hurt, and used time and time again. The family members who did nothing are just as bad in my opinion because they've never even tried to defend me. I have put up with a lot from my family in the past. I have had to get over so many past issue and pain because I pushed it past in the name of family. Now this was all happening again, but this time it was in front of my daughter. What if they started treating my daughter the same way when she is older? So I threw the bear in the garbage in front of them and told them all to leave my house. They're all just as bad as sister-in-law in my opinion. I couldn't bring myself to yell or scream, but I stood firm. I removed my daughter from my mother's arms and showed them all the door. There was a lot of name-calling, but I stood my ground. I'm done. I haven't spoken to them since, and they haven't even tried to contact me. I intend to write a letter or something to them to say everything I feel. I feel like I need that closure, but I intend to go no contact with all of them from now on. I have spoken to my boss, and there's an opportunity for me to move out east to work in a new branch of the company. I intend to accept the new role and move during my maternity leave. My plans are not final yet, but I believe that a fresh start in a new place could be just the thing I need. I need to do what is best for myself and my daughter. Regardless of family or anything, I'm extremely happy right now. My daughter is the greatest little baby imaginable. I am so overjoyed to be her mother. Thank you to everyone for all the help and support I received on here. I'm extremely grateful for all the advice and kindness that I received, but I hope that I never have the need to post on here in the future. Thank you everyone, and I wish you all the best.
Update. I, 27 female, am falling for my sister's 26 female ex 26 male. Would it be unreasonable to date him? Original post. So I'm in a pretty complicated situation. My sister Amy was dating Paul for 2.5 years, from when she was 22 to 24. I wasn't too close with him, but we got along. Well, unfortunately, he cheated with her best friend, and this hurt my sister a lot. I was angry and hurt that he would do that to my sister. My sister became depressed and still has trust issues to the point she's scared to date. Recently, I went on a cruise with my friend and her boyfriend, third wheeling. He saw me on the bar at the pool. He said hi, and I was very cold to him. I told him about himself, and to my surprise, he accepted accountability. He told me the guilt he feels to this day, and he's matured over the years. I decided to let bygones be bygones, and him and I started hanging out as we were both third-wheeling. We did excursions, shopping, etc. I didn't realize how strong our chemistry was. One night, we both had a drunken mishap and hooked up. After that, the cat was out the bag and we hooked up a couple times. When I got back, him and I had been texting, and we are considering taking things more serious. I haven't talked to my sister about it, but I can tell she's changed and a better person. Plus, it's been a couple years. Now for the top comments before reading the update. This is a disaster just waiting to happen. OP just destroyed her relationship with her sister for the sister's scumbag ex-boyfriend. Hope the sex was worth it. My sister is my world. If she did this to me, I would cut her out of my life completely. Do you have no respect for her? The pain she went through. You want to throw that all away for some guy that is a renowned cheater? Wow. I hate my sister, and still I would never do something so horrific. Right, but he's changed, she said. Well, if he's changed, why is he trying to get with his ex's sister? This half is selfish. Wait until her sister finds out. And then this broad won't understand what she did wrong. Wow, just wow. She fell right into this guy's hands and doesn't even realize it. Please update us when he cheats on you and your sister goes no contact on you. Now for the update. I decided to give him a chance. Well, he's still a disgusting cheater. A few weeks ago, I decided to tell my sister what happened and what we were planning. She didn't take it well at all and has blocked me and said I'm dead to her. That broke my heart, but I was optimistic that as she continued to heal from the breakup and find someone new, she would get over it. Perhaps even learn to be happy for me. When I was over his place last night, I noticed a bonnet. It was not mine, and I don't wear bonnets usually. That raised my suspicion. I didn't say anything and waited for him to fall asleep. I used the Face ID to unlock it when he was sleeping. I went through his phone, and it was bad. I woke him up and told him he's a disgusting person. I've never felt so alone. I haven't even told my sister yet, but I want her to know that I fell for his lies and that I'm sorry. I'm guessing you're feeling pretty dumb for defending him so hard in your last post and for throwing your relationship with your sister into the garburator. Yeah, the only thing I can do now is take full responsibility for my actions and pony up an apology. It's sad, because what he did is exactly why people are afraid to give others second chances. Right, that's perfect. You weren't betraying your little sister. You were being a good person and giving the ex who cheated on her with her best friend a second chance behind her back. You just started talking to him and then hanging out with him and then banging him and then dating him behind her back by mistake. Whoopsies. How could you have possibly known this would hurt her feelings or that he would be cheating on you next? The important thing for her right now is that you need her to accept your apology and start feeling sad for you even though she doesn't want to talk to you. Her wishes are, as you have already established, less important than yours. Now that you're a victim too, same as her, and because you were just being a good person behind her back by mistake anyway, she can go ahead and get over it. What responsibility do you feel like you're taking? Try some therapy before you try apologizing. I hope you understand that you don't love your sister, and she would probably be better off without you in her life. Perfectly said. I cannot for the life of me understand the 181 people who upvoted that ridiculous attempt to paint herself not only as the victim but as a saintly one at that. Oh, look at a sister of mercy over here, sacrificing herself on the altar of second chances. Get the heck out of here, Opie. You are not the victim. I hope your sister cuts you out of her life before you find any new fresh hells to throw at her, because you just feel such a strong connection. Gross. You're gross. Edit, it's now 315 people. Jesus Christ, Reddit. As many posts like this one are on here, the upvotes are probably those who slept with her siblings/cousins/daughter's boyfriend, if I had to guess. You were not sorry when you went after the person who betrayed her. You did not even consider your sister's feelings, even after everyone here told you how crappy it was to pursue her ex. You were not sorry after you told her and broke her heart again. I cannot imagine how she felt knowing her own sister could do this to her, but instead thought she would get over it and learn to be happy for you. You're not sorry you hurt her. You are lamenting because you got hurt. Leave your sister alone. She doesn't deserve such a treacherous person in her life. You, on the other hand, more than deserve feeling alone. Next story. Update. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my sister-in-law at my wedding and telling her no one cares that she is pregnant? Original post. My husband, 30 male, and I, 26 female, got married during COVID. We couldn't have a big ceremony because of restrictions, and unfortunately my family couldn't be present as they live in a different country. With restrictions finally lifted, we decided to have a more traditional ceremony in my home country with my family. My husband's family came, his parents, some friends, cousins, and his sister, 32 female, we'll call Sarah, and her husband, 28 male, we'll call him Matt. Sarah and Matt live on the other side of the US than the rest of the family. They had their wedding a couple of months back in their home state, and ever since then when we have a conversation, even without our wedding coming up, Sarah would say that she and Matt are planning to get pregnant on the trip for my husband and I's wedding. No big deal. I just made sure to tell her that she needs to ovulate for that to happen, but other than that, I could not care less. What started to get annoying is when we were talking about all the activities/excursions people wanted to do, so could go ahead and book it. Sarah would always say, make sure there's enough time for Matt and I at the hotel so we can get busy making our baby. Again, kind of gross. A little annoying, but whatever. They're grown-ups. About a week before we all leave to go to my home country, Sarah and Matt arrive in our home state to spend some time with family, as they rarely see them. My husband and I, his parents, and my husband's brother and sister-in-law are sitting chatting when Sarah blurts out she's pregnant. We all get really excited, congratulate them, and saying how happy we are. We start asking some questions, and Sarah says she's 2 weeks pregnant. Everyone kind of loses a little bit of excitement and say, wow, that's really early. We suggest to wait before telling other people, just as a lot can happen. People usually don't even know they are pregnant until at least 6 weeks, and even then they are encouraged to wait until after the first trimester to tell people. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law were very happy and excited for them, but cautioned them even more as they have experienced multiple miscarriages before having their first child. Matt replied by saying they're only telling the people closest to them, like his parents, her parents and her siblings. No one else, since it is so early. Well, the next day, Sarah had called her great-uncle and his wife over for drinks and decided to tell them too. Called her one aunt and uncle and told them, and by the end of the day basically the entire extended family knew. As well as some of her mom's friends, which stopped by the house and Sarah told. With each person Sarah told, Matt got more agitated, as they had agreed to only tell a select few people. Matt finally gave up and asked her why she doesn't just post it on Facebook as it will be quicker, to which she replied she wants to, but she thinks it will be frowned upon. My husband came to me and said it feels like she is trying to draw the attention away from us at our wedding, as she is known to do anything and everything to have the spotlight on her. I said to not worry about it, as when we are in my home country, she isn't going to know many people, so she won't say anything. He agreed, but went to his parents and told them what he was feeling, and asked if they could politely suggest that she keep it to herself when we left for the trip. They agreed that it was valid for him to feel that way, as they know she hates it if the focus is not on her. Anyway, we leave for the wedding and I see my mom for the second time in 5 years. Obviously, it was a very emotional reunion, but we wiped off our tears quickly and sat down for a meal with my husband's family. After I introduced her to everyone, the waiter take our order, and the first thing Sarah says to my mom is, "Your daughter probably already told you, but I won't be drinking this trip." My mom says that is no problem. You don't have to drink to have fun, and that Sarah will still have fun, even if she chooses not to drink. Sarah interrupts my mom to tell her it's not by choice that she's not drinking, but that she's pregnant. Keep in mind, this is 10 minutes after she met my mom. My mom says congratulations and keeps on with another conversation. Sarah interrupts my mom again and tells her how she's 2 weeks pregnant and just so excited. My mom, who is in medicine, then tells Sarah the same thing we did, that she should probably wait until she's in her second trimester to tell people. And Sarah completely ignores her. The same thing happens with my aunts, cousins, uncles, sister, and grandparents, all of whom she had never met before. My husband yet again speaks to his parents and asks them to please tell her to keep it private, because it feels as though she's purposely trying to make the attention away from our wedding. They say they will talk to her. Matt actually comes up to us and apologizes by saying he agrees that it has gotten out of hand and that the number of people that know is way more than the number they agreed upon. Fast forward, we are sitting eating while we wait for one of our excursions. A family that I lived with for 3 when I first moved to my husband's country flew out for the wedding and met up with us for lunch. They have never met my sister-in-law. The wife and I are talking about the wedding and all the arrangements, while my sister-in-law sits across from us and listens to the conversation. My husband orders some shots for everyone at the table when his mom says she doesn't want one, so he tells the server -1. My sister-in-law hears him ordering the shots and goes off yelling across the table, "I can't drink alcohol. You know I can't drink a shot. Why would you order me one?" Everyone kind of stops and looks at her for a sec, before my husband says it's not a problem, as Matt said he wants to. Everyone then continues their conversation, including the wife and I. My sister-in-law interrupts me and continues to make a big fuss over how my husband ordered her alcohol when he knows she's not drinking. The wife then says it's okay because Matt said he'll drink it, so it's not going to waste. My sister-in-law then says again how annoying it is that my husband ordered her a shot, and I say to not worry about, because I'll just drink it if Matt doesn't want it. She keeps doing this till I finally tell the wife that she's not drinking because she's pregnant. The wife says congratulations and asks how far she is, and then also tells her to be careful of telling too many people. The situation happens about 3 more times in the week leading up to the wedding. Now, this is why I might be the a-hole. The last time it happened, she was telling my high school friends at the wedding how sick she has been, but no one asked why she was sick. They were just empathetic and saying they hope she feels better. They came over to me to talk to me, and she followed again complaining about how sick she has been and kind of pushing them to ask why she has been feeling so sick. When I finally said, "Sarah, are you freaking kidding me? No one cares that you're pregnant. They don't even know you." Sarah ran off crying, and my mother-in-law heard me say that and told my father-in-law, who screamed at my husband, saying how we hurt Sarah's feelings and how she's just excited. My husband doesn't think I did anything wrong, and my high school friends think I was fine too, because they know the backstory. My mom and some of my husband's family think I was the a-hole. So am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law that no one cares that she's pregnant? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. How many times does she need talked to? She was trying to be a center of attention by her words. If you want to be more petty, every time she walks into a room, just say, "Can I have everyone's attention?" My sister-in-law is pregnant, so let's get that elephant out of the room so she doesn't try to be the main character like she has been. I bet you'll hear a pin drop, and she runs off and cries again. That is brilliant, haha. You should also make bingo cards in how many ways she'll try to tell/remind people she's pregnant. Winner gets a baby-shaped cake. Sarah doesn't sound mature enough to have a child. I'm having a hard time believing there even will be a child. Hey, I had a sister-in-law who had a miscarriage every month. After the 2nd or 3rd one, I forgot which, I said to my mother, "Oh, so she got her period. Big whoops." Seriously, she would call my mother and tell her she was X number of days pregnant, not even weeks. And this was back before home tests, back in the mid-70s. Yeah, I have a sister-in-law like that. She announced her pregnancy at my wedding, was supposedly 4 weeks, and then had a miscarriage about a week later. Although I know that a miscarriage is sad for anyone, it was hard to feel much sympathy in this case, considering she basically just had a period. Now for the update. My husband and I finally had our honeymoon, and we were unreachable during our holiday because we were out of the country. Our whole family knew this before we left, and we told them the only way to reach us in emergency was to call the hotel. We knew Sarah was going in for her appointment while we were away, and we told her we would call her as soon as we got back home. My husband and I was out one day for the whole day from the hotel doing activities, and when we got back, we found a note in our room to say we have to go to reception. Once we got to reception, the person told us we had 7 missed calls from family and gave us a number to call. We didn't know who called or what about, but we thought it was an emergency. We called the number and it was Matt. He was very confused and asked why we were calling him on our honeymoon and asked if we were okay. We said that the hotel said this number called 7 times and asked him if everything was okay. Matt said everything was fine, but Sarah wanted to talk to us. Matt called Sarah over and she asked us how we were having fun, etc., but we just wanted to know what was going on because we were so worried. Sarah said she went to the doctor and got some news. We asked her if everything was okay because she kept not saying anything and we could hear her and Matt whisper to each other. We heard Matt say to her, "Did you seriously call the hotel 7 times to tell them this? It could have waited." Sarah finally gets back on the phone and said that the doctor said she was going to have twins. We said congratulations and asked if there was anything else. We thought it was an emergency. She said no. She just wanted to share the news because she's so excited and scared, and she couldn't hold it in. She said she also called my mom and told her. They are friends in social media. My husband and I both just said we were very happy for them, but really didn't want to be bothered again if it was not an emergency. Sarah said we were being very rude, and she just wanted to share the good news. We hung up because we had to get ready for dinner. When we got back into the US, my in-laws picked us up from the airport and were asking us if we spoke to Sarah. We said yes. She said she was having twins and we were very excited for them. My father-in-law then said Sarah told them we were extremely rude to her and Matt, and we were dismissive and hung up the phone. We told them what really happened, and they said that is not what Sarah's told the whole family. We are now back in our house and haven't spoken to Sarah or Matt. But Matt texted us both, but the text only came through later, where he said he was so sorry that they bothered us on our vacation and it felt horrible. We just texted back and said all good, and that we were very excited for both of them. All I can say about this whole situation is that I am very happy that we live on the other side of the country from Sarah. She sounds exhausting and insufferable. Poor Matt, still unsure how she went from 2 weeks pregnant to finding out she's having twins. The OP is 9 days old, so Sarah's 3 weeks pregnant. I'm calling BS on the twins. An ultrasound won't show any visible activity at 3 weeks, let alone twins. The egg will have only just finished implanting. Either this is some well-written troll bait or Sarah really is trying to steal the limelight. Telling factor would be if Matt went with her to the appointment where she found out about the twins. An OB generally won't even see you until 6 weeks minimum, since that's when you'll start seeing activity on an ultrasound. If it's real, Sarah is a big fan of attention. Did your brother go with her to the doctor? Did he see the ultrasound? For some reason, women who fake pregnancies often claim they're having twins. Now, that isn't a super likely scenario, but this woman sounds pathologically desperate for attention. I probably have watched too many Dr. Phil episodes on women who fake pregnancies, but I'd reverse image search any ultrasound pictures she sends/posts. I think Matt went with yes. When we got back to the US, she sent us a picture of the ultrasound. I'm not a doctor or in the medical field at all, but it looked like 2 babies to me. Reverse image search that ultrasound. Thank you. After I spoke to my mother-in-law, she confirmed that Sarah miscalculated how far along she was, and that she is actually closer to 8 to 9 weeks now. She had her first ultrasound at her doctor and then said she was having twins and she sent me the picture. I still wonder if she's actually pregnant or if we're going to see some lifetime story about Matt and Sarah, because this is beyond strange.